Jalen Williams just became the first player in 2 years to score 40 points in an NBA Finals game. But this wasn't an isolated performance. Since Game 3, he's been averaging 31 points, while shooting 50% from the field and 40% from three, playing like a true offensive superstar. OKC has needed every one of those buckets due to the way the Pacers are defending. In Games 1 and 2, Indiana allowed Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to operate in space. OKC responded to their full-court pressure by setting high ball screens early in the offense, giving Shai an advantage to turn the corner in attack. The Pacers played these screens straight up, with the big either soft hedging or dropping back to protect the rim. And with no extra help at the nail, Shai had a clear path to the paint. He consistently got whatever he wanted in the pick, scoring 38 points in Game 1 and 34 in Game 2, while collapsing the defense and finding open teammates. Realizing this wasn't sustainable, Indiana made a major adjustment in Game 3. Andrew Nembhard face-guarded Shai full court, denying touches and forcing OKC to find offense elsewhere. Even when Shai got the ball, the Pacers aggressively hedged screens, loaded the paint, and rotated early, ensuring he always faced multiple defenders. The strategy worked. Shai scored a series-low 24 points, committed a playoff career-high 6 turnovers, and Indiana took a 2-1 lead. But OKC responded with a smart adjustment. If the Pacers' goal was to stop Shai, the Thunder shifted the offensive load to Jalen Williams. He embraced the role of primary playmaker, stepped up in a big way, and since then, OKC hasn't looked back. In Game 1, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 77 touches compared to Jalen Williams' 63, and Game 2 followed a similar pattern. But everything changed in Game 3, when the Thunder shifted to a more JDUB-centric approach, locking an entirely new ceiling for their offense. J-Dub began initiating possessions with high ball screens in early offense, especially since Shai was being face-guarded and denied touches. With no help defenders at the nail, J-Dub had clear paths to the paint. It wasn't until the second half that OKC fully leaned into this strategy, often having J-Dub come off a high ball screen and drive toward Shai's side, effectively controlling the middle of the floor. Though Indiana's bigs still hedged, the coverages weren't as aggressive, and without extra help, JDUB consistently got downhill. His skill as a driver and shot maker demands multiple defenders to slow him down. And despite Indiana taking the win, they couldn't stop him individually. He finished with 26 points on 50% shooting. Meanwhile, watching the NBA in peak comfort is its own experience, and the FlexiSpot Lotus recliner makes it even better. Whether relaxing after a long day or doing work like breaking down finals film, the wide seat, full swivel range, hidden storage, and reclined design make it the ideal setup. Use my code LOTUS30 for $30 off and free shipping. Now, back to the series game for another Thunder adjustment. J-Dub faced full-court pressure from Aaron Nesmith, so OKC countered by having Isaiah Hartenstein set a flat backcourt ball screen similar to what Shai used in Game 2. This gave JDUB momentum and space to turn the corner. On the very next possession, Ihart's screen opened a passing lane and drew a foul when Chad attacked off the catch. What stood out was JDUB's poise under pressure. He never looked rattled. He played at his own pace, absorbed contact, and repeatedly got deep into the paint. Nearly every possession began with Ihart setting a backcourt screen, creating space for J-Dub while Shai remained one pass away on the opposite wing, leaving the middle open. J-Dub showed he could vary his tip. He saw daylight, he attacked with speed. If not, he slowed things down, read the defense, and made the right play. That level of control has become the heartbeat of OKC's evolving offense. The way J-Dub starts and stops as he navigates space is almost reminiscent of Shai. And one of OKC's smartest strategic adjustments was using Shai as a screener. Since Nembhard doesn't want to leave him, this created even more space for JDUB to attack. Shai didn't even need to land a hard screen, just his presence in the middle drew defensive attention. With a cleared baseline, JDUB had all the room he needed to get into the paint. This became a go-to action late in the game. No players on the wings, Shai setting a flat ball screen for JDUB in the middle, and JDUB exploiting the open floor to penetrate at will. Eventually, the Pacers countered by switching those actions to limit that space, but now with Nembhard off Shai, OKC could go back to him in isolation, something he handled well, especially against Nesmith. This is how the Thunder closed Game 4. Shai sets a screen, Nembhard switches, and then Shai isolates near the elbow. When the Pacers sent a double, it left J-Dub with an advantage off the catch, leading to quick ball movement and an open catch-and-shoot three. What's often overlooked is how playing JWE as the primary ball handler for 3 quarters kept Shai fresh for the fourth. After looking exhausted in the final stretch of Game 3, he was energized in Game 4, scoring 15 of OKC's last 16 points to seal the win and tie the series 2-2. Together, Shai and J-Dub combined for 62 points, went a perfect 21-4-21 from the line, and posted an elite 61.5% true shooting percentage total map. But even that performance was overshadowed by Game 5, which was all about OKC's defense. They forced turnovers, contested shots, and turned those stops into transition opportunities, where J-Dub thrived against an unset defense. One of his most underrated skills is his off-ball intelligence. His cutting and positioning routinely caused defensive breakdowns. In the first half of Game 5, with OKC pushing the pace and generating advantages, JDUB feasted. Along with his elite movement, he's also a reliable shooter, hitting 3 of 5 from beyond the arc in that game. The threat of his shot forces defenders into long closeouts, which he immediately attacks, leading to even more rim attempts. Because the Pacers are sending aggressive help to stop Shy, JDUB playing one pass aways, the man they leave open. That mistake consistently turned into points, as he scored nearly 20 off spot-ups, cuts, and fast breaks, showcasing just how lethal and complete his offensive game has become. Jalen Williams set the tone early in Game 5 with relentless rim pressure, and even when the game slowed into half-court sets where he ran point for extended stretches, he delivered again. While his patience was notable, it was his aggression that truly stole the show. Rather than settling for mid-range looks, he made it his mission to get to the rim, hunting for openings off full-court pressure and attacking out of high ball screens set by iHeart. He attempted 12 shots at the rim, tying a career high for any game, regular season, or playoffs, and drew 12 free throws, also a career high, proving just how unstoppable he was. When a defense can't stop layups or free throws, they overhelp and collapse, which leads to easy looks for others. Much like Shy in Game 2, J-Dub dissected Indiana's defense off the dribble, repeatedly turning the corner, creating advantages, and initiating offense for the whole team. Then in the fourth, OKC added one last twist, reversing those flat ball screens Shy had been setting for JDUB. This forced the Pacers into tough decisions, created space, drew defensive collapse, and led to plays like a wide-open corner 3 for Dort. Even when Indiana defended well, JDUB responded with strength, touch, and elite shot-making, like bullying his way into a tough floater after a stalled high screen. This game was the full realization of his talent: constant downhill pressure, using his strength and length to finish, and elite shot creation when needed. He finished with 40 points on an absurd 66% true shooting with just 1 turnover, becoming the first player in 2 years to drop 40 in a finals game. Shy added 31 points and 10 assists, making their combined 71 points and 14 assists, a historic finals performance. Alongside OKC's stout team defense, this is what allowed them to pull away and take a 3-2 lead in the series. But the real story is Jalen Williams. All season long, critics questioned whether he could be a true no.2 option in the playoffs, especially during the Denver series, but he's silenced all doubt with this finals leap. He's become more assertive, more physical, and more efficient, using his frame to draw contact, refusing to settle, and attacking the rim while continuing to shine off the ball and as a high-level defender. This is exactly what a championship second option looks like. And at just 24, Jalen Williams has officially taken over the NBA Finals. If you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content. For deeper analysis, check out the Hoop Venue podcast, and my socials links are in the description. Let me know in the comments what you think of JDUB, and as always, have a great day. I'll catch you in the next one.